What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you've been following GeForce NOW news, then you're aware that Fortnite returns to mobile through GFN. This is supported on Safari with iPad OS and iOS, and also on Android devices as well. In this video, we're going to focus on iPad OS on my iPad mini 6th Gen and iOS on my iPhone 12 Pro. We're going to get into those touch controls and see how those are feeling, along with game performance as well, and see what's going on with Fortnite here on mobile. And this is a really exciting launch for GeForce NOW and for Fortnite gamers, and I'm really excited to get into it. So let's start with the iPad mini 6th Gen. So we'll get loaded into Fortnite here on the iPad mini first, and one nice thing about this is it is a lockdown experience. They're wanting this game to run 120 FPS, even if we are getting a 60 FPS stream on iPad and iPhone. Getting into the settings here, we're going to turn off motion blur and leave FPS on, but as far as graphics quality, other than that, you don't get a lot of option like you would over on the PC app or over on the PC browser. It's really specific for the performance they want you to get when gaming on mobile, and they've put a lot into this. Now also, when it gets into touch controls, you can select your fire mode, where it's going to auto fire when aiming on an enemy, tap anywhere, or your dedicated button. I'm going to leave things on auto fire for now, and you can also go in here and adjust your sensitivities, which I'm pretty sure you're going to need to do. I haven't locked mine in yet. There's a lot of adjustment and tweaking to do when it comes to the touch controls, but it works really well. And other than that, you've just got your other typical settings through here that you can get into for Fortnite. No major differences there, but it's definitely a lockdown experience that they're wanting you to have here on mobile. So let's go ahead and get launched in the game. We'll do some picture-in-picture and check this out here. Now, Fortnite seems to be running extremely well and locked at that 120 FPS. And we'll have the counter up pretty much all the time for gameplay here, but I like to see that, even though we are at 1080p 60 on iPad and iPhone. Now, on some Android devices, they do support 120 FPS, which is awesome. So if you're on one of those devices with the app and not browser, you might be able to experience that. So make sure you check out GeForce NOW's website and get into what's compatible for 120 FPS if you haven't already. But getting into the game, it just feels great. I am no touch control player, and I'm also not a Fortnite player either, but I was still excited to get in and try this out as soon as I heard that GeForce NOW was doing this dedicated version of Fortnite for mobile and having these touch controls really intuitive and easier to figure out, because I'm horrible with touch controls. But I gotta be honest, these feel pretty intuitive and easy to use for the most part. I'm still not going to game as well as I would with a controller personally. I've been gaming with a controller for like 35 years, and my hands don't usually work with touch controls great on smaller screens. But on the iPad mini, it's kind of like a perfect size for me with my hand size to get away with touch controls. It was definitely one of my favorite experiences, and I played quite a few matches with touch controls on the iPad mini and found that I was able to enjoy it. Now, I might not be as confident right now as I would be with a controller Bluetooth here, but I was surprised that someone like me, who's horrible with touch controls, pretty much never uses them for anything, was able to jump in, start testing out Fortnite this way, and actually get into it and be able to play. I was able to navigate the world just fine. Everything's set up really nicely in the game for the touch controls, and as far as like aiming and the auto shooting and everything, it felt pretty friendly. I really didn't have too many complaints, even as someone who just wouldn't normally game this way. So if touch controls are your jam anyway and you're used to them, you're probably going to slay it with this and do really well. I know my touchscreen warriors out there are going to do very well with this. My gameplay is not great, but seeing that this was only like my second or third round, I was pretty surprised at how quickly I was picking up the touch controls. So let's go ahead and move over to the iPhone 12 Pro and check out what that experience is like. So right off the bat, something I loved about launching this on the iPhone was that it actually takes up the entire screen and looks gorgeous. When I launch other games, no matter what settings I use, I get the bars on the sides and whatnot, and it's fine, I get it. But with Fortnite here, it is built very specifically for this, takes up the whole screen, and it made it so much more enjoyable to play, especially with the touch controls. I think if this had those black bars on the sides, as you can see me here with my fingers, it would just be that much more cramped, and I would have trouble with touch. I already have some trouble on something this small for me to hold it and use touch controls, but if it wasn't taking up the full real estate of the screen, it definitely wouldn't be as good. As far as performance, this felt just as good as over on the iPad mini, and it looked fantastic as well. I'm sure it's running all the same graphics settings, draw distances, 120 FPS, and all of that here for me on the RTX 3080 tier this way. But again, a pleasant experience. I really preferred the iPad mini. I could just see things better, and it was more comfortable in my hand just for me specifically. perfectly, but the gaming experience was great. Now here, auto fire didn't specifically work. I don't think it does with sniper rifles, but it does track onto your target, and you're able to click the button and get your shot off that way. So again, pretty intuitive, worked pretty well. Only took me a couple of seconds to figure out what was going on there. But given enough time with this, I could actually enjoy a few rounds on the go this way with Fortnite, whether it be on my phone or my iPad, and do decently. I wouldn't expect to necessarily be getting wins like other people might be getting out there, but I could definitely get in there and have some fun. And I think GeForce Now has done a great job with bringing this game to mobile this way, and really just taking the care to get the touch controls and the aspect ratios and everything right. So anyways, guys, if you haven't already, subscribe, thumbs up, ring the bell, leave your comment. I hope you enjoyed the video. Enjoy your Fortnite on mobile, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.